It's April 1st, 2020, and this is No Sports, Day 20. I can't believe it's taken me 3 weeks to finally get around to this topic, which I've been wanting to discuss since the beginning of our experience with the coronavirus pandemic, but it's the stigma of the fact and the thought that you actually need to be at work to do work. I want to talk about working from home, which seems to go against everything of an old school mentality. This is something from the 50s or 60s. An office is where all the work happens. You leave home to go to work. That's where you do all your work, and it's not possible to do anything from your house. Now, obviously, I've been working a lot from home lately, and in fact, eventually I will do a video on all of this, the home studio, how I'm doing this, what the setup is like. I want to show you what you're not seeing here on camera right now. It's been interesting. It's been different, but in a lot of ways, it has been relatively doable. Now, I'll talk about some of the challenges later on in just a second, but I've also been watching other television personalities and late night shows have their programs be entirely recorded from the host's home, and I gotta say, I've been impressed by some of the content that a lot of shows and individuals have been putting together with their respective teams. And I have to say that I would probably watch more of the home version when life goes back to normal, hopefully sooner than later in however many months. But yeah, I'd probably watch that as much as I watch the regular studio version. There's something interesting about being at somebody's house or that kind of raw look and feel. But anyway, going back to the main point of all this, we've had some new revelations with the COVID-19 pandemic. A lot of people are finding that they can successfully work from home. Now, not everybody can do this. Certainly some jobs require and necessitate the fact that you actually be present. So obviously this doesn't apply to everybody, but a significant number of people right now, I think, are finding that they're relatively unaffected in the amount of work they can get done from their home. Whether it's just being in front of a laptop or around a phone all day, they can communicate and get all the work done from any location, including their house. And I think there's so many people experiencing this right now. I did a quick Twitter poll yesterday, and about 45 to 50% of people said they're working just fine from home, but there is a significant amount of people doing this and finding success with this that I actually think we ought to consider this change to be maybe more permanent moving forward once we can get on the other side of all this. Now, I'm going to present 7 points here, and a lot of them are my own thoughts, but I do want to give huge credit and shout outs to Ted Raimi, a fellow media colleague of mine here in Northern California. He actually put together a Twitter thread which spelled out a lot of this in the very same fashion I was thinking about it. So I kind of merged my thoughts and his thoughts because I thought he did such a great job spelling it all out. This was a couple weeks ago. Number one thing, if you could get more people working from home, is you'd be cutting down the commute. You'd be freeing up all the roadways that are normally jam-packed Monday through Friday, 9 a.m. in the morning, 5 p.m., when everybody's trying to come and go to work. So you'd be cutting down on not just traffic, but stress, and you'd be saving people time and money and energy that they'd otherwise be wasting, resources wasted, pollution, smog. You can do so much good by cutting back and having people just stay at home and work from home, or even an off-site location, a coffee shop. That's fine. Number two, this thought is that you could make a place like the Bay Area more effective. You could spread out housing and businesses and the economy. It would make it so that not a majority of people are commuting from the suburbs to San Francisco, to Oakland, and to the South Bay. So you could make all these pockets of suburbs a lot more viable in terms of living and doing your business there. And it's not to take away from the big cities. I just think we could ease some of the stress on these big cities. Third thought here, what a perk it would be for your company to realize and say, you know what? You can work from home and you do just as good a job at home. And since we're not maybe going to give you a bonus, think of this as your bonus. Think of the fact that you can work from home as a bonus. You're going to get back 3, 4, 5, 10 hours a week maybe in commuting time, you're going to get that free time back with your friends, your family, or things you need to do. So, have to be honest, that would be quite the perk. Time is money. Number 4, speaking of money, companies would be saving money here because you think about running an office and the size and scope and everything associated with it, materials, supplies. Now, it's not to say that the office and company wouldn't have to supply the worker at home with anything they need. That's obvious, laptops, other equipment, but you could downsize the office space that a company actually needed if you don't need to have everybody there every single day. You'd have less office waste and, like I said, resources required. The 5th thought here actually goes to the efficiency portion of this. Now, a lot of people have said, well, what about those who want to work from home and then they don't actually get all their work done? But see, that's the thing. Number 1, it's pretty easy to realize if you're not getting everything done. I mean, there are standards whether you're in the office or whether you're at home. It's not going to change that somebody is productive or not. The thought from Ted Raimi here, which I thought was interesting, is if you think not being able to directly oversee your employees would make them less productive, you're either a terrible boss or you're hiring the wrong people, right? So yes, some form of trust definitely goes into all this, but I think that's critical, right? If you're hiring the right people, you know whether they're at home or whether they're at the office, they're going to get their best work done. So I think that's an important point. Not only that, from the boss's perspective, a good boss could save the company money by not having people show up to work every day. And like I said, make them happier. So there's that too. Number 6 here in this thought, have you noticed how fast businesses have been able to adapt to employees working from home? They didn't have much time to prepare for this. Days, maybe weeks. Imagine what it could look like if a company spent months to get their infrastructure right, their IT all worked out so that every employee could do what they needed to do off-site. So it can be done. I know and I won't name names, I have some family members of my own who said, well, my job may not be able to accommodate it. Next thing you know, everything is able to be done from home. So it goes to show how easy, not all jobs, but some jobs, in fact, a lot of jobs could be from home from a technical standpoint. And then the last point I want to make here, number 7, there are definitely some challenges of working from home. I know I may have painted a picture like it's so easy. It's easy for the company to pull off. It would be an easy decision for them to make. From the worker standpoint, there are a couple key aspects that need to be followed and need to be practiced. One of them is discipline. We'll get into that in a second. The next one is distractions. And the last one is distances. 3 Ds. Interesting how that worked out. Discipline, distractions, and distances when you're working from home. Specific to discipline, it is tempting sometimes to put things off. Well, I'll do it after dinner. Then you're too tired. Then you had a beer or 3, right? Discipline. You have to be disciplined and say, I'm going to do this at this time. I'll get it done. Distractions. And I say that it comes across in a negative way. Distractions are only things that take you away and take your attention away fully. Kids, spouses, pets. Again, these are things that you love, but they a lot of times are things that require your attention. Could be your house, your car also. Things that you need to take care of, and they'll call at you. So you just need to manage that. It's not easy. It's definitely not easy, but it's doable. And I think that's the last point here with distances. If you're lucky enough to have your own working space or office space or even dedicated space in your home, that's going to make life so much easier. I've been guilty of this, working while I should be hanging out with my son or watching him or doing something else. You really need to divide your time. Part of that discipline is knowing when to work, but also knowing when you are off work. And the distance, I think, like I said, if you're lucky enough to have multiple spaces, I think the distances will help out all of the above. So again, working from home, I know it's something we're testing right now, we're experiencing right now, but I think this could offer a lot of good things for the future of our modern economy and our modern civilization. And I just think it's worth a shot. This has been No Sports, Day 20.